at least someone else will be able to see it as well. And I just hope, young people, I'm looking at you because your story really does matter. And I'm looking at you, young lady, because I love your smile. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but this is what I do. I love young people. But there may be something, again, I want you to own your story. Your story is powerful. Young man, your story is powerful. And I just pray that even if you're on the panel, that if you have kids, maybe it's something that I say that may be a blessing to you as well. So this is my story, and it's called I Didn't Know My Own Strength. I got a big mouth. This is where you're coming from. Sidewalk. I'm so sorry. Is that okay? Thank you. I've waited on this day for such a long time. I played it over and over again in the forefront of my mind. The day that I finally get to tell my story. Like so many of those that have gone before me, I guess I need to start from the very beginning. Because see, as long as I can remember, I always felt myself to be phenomenal and understood that the world just hadn't noticed me yet. I always knew that I was gifted with unlimited possibilities. I just hadn't been discovered or unwrapped by the right opportunities. I was one who once dreamed, even though many tried to keep me awake. Oh yes, you're looking at a woman that once truly believed in herself. But somewhere along the way, I got stagnated by the voices playing in my head, reminding me over and over again what the last person said, that I was weak, useless, insecure, stupid. Some even called me ugly. And I thought to myself, I'll never find nobody to truly love me. And then no matter what I did in this life, that I will never accomplish nothing. And after so long, those voices somehow became my truth. And all those things that I once thought myself to be was no longer clear to me. This is my story, but it's not unique. My story has been rapped about in many songs, acted out on many movie scenes, read about in books and even some of the top magazines, but still not enough people have woken up to the struggles that so many people such as me face today. They can't even begin to count up the many shed tears and all the wasted years. Constantly being told that having me was a mistake. How much rejection can one person take? And let me not neglect to mention how hard it was for me to live with my secret, even though the shame in my eyes reeked of it. But how can a young girl admit that the one that everybody trusted and respected came in and stole her innocence? Constantly being treated as if I was some type of bargain deal, as if the things that I was going through and the challenges I was facing wasn't real. And how as time went by, how hard it was for me to survive, because the one that told me, oh baby, I love you and I'll never leave your side, I'm here to tell you that was another one that lied. As he walked away and left me behind to ask for help in the welfare line, even though he knew it was his child I was carrying on the inside. And I can't even begin to count up how many times I tried to hide the blackened eyes. How makeup and fake smiles and lies, oh, I'm blessed, highly favored and doing fine, became my permanent disguise, that not even the church leaders realized that I was losing my mind. Constantly believing the lies that the enemy planted in me, the shadow of humiliation and intimidation constantly taunting me. I began to lie on my back over and over again, falling deeper and deeper into the depths of what many people call sin, compromising my integrity, as if having a man was my only reality. Now they tried to judge me, but I want you to know that some of the things that I've gone through has been hiding in my bloodline, passed down from generation to generation. Because see, the enemy had a plan to destroy me because he knew who I was destined to be the day of my creation. Now can you understand how bitterness became the face of my frustration? How I got so deeply depressed that I continued to turn to sex so that I wouldn't feel less? How I drank as a way of escape, smoked on that dope as a way to cope. These poisons became my daily antidote, constantly under some type of anesthesia to numb my pain. But as time went on, it got harder for me to go under. And the things that I was going through, I'm here to tell you that pain, it grew over time and it grew stronger. And I began to cry out, I can't take it another longer, a second longer. And I cried darkness silenced the thoughts of suicide. And I cried out, God, if you are real, answer me. And as I cried out, something was happening within. I didn't know what it was at first, but then I realized it was my spirit being strengthened once again. And somehow I was able to see that greater is he that's within me. And if God was for me, who will dare stand against me? His truth began to cancel out every lie. And out of the ashes and the dust, I began to arise, a new creation despite the planning of my demise. I was still standing. And no matter what it looked like, I did not lose. Because God gave me a second chance. And he gave me the power to choose. And I want you to know that I chose courage instead of fear. I chose hope so that I can heal. I chose sunshine instead of sorrow. And I chose to live for today and let my God worry about my tomorrow. Because when I look back over my life, even when others walked away, he never left my side. That's why I choose life instead of death. That's why I choose to walk away from a situation, didn't lose myself because I stayed. And most importantly, young people, I decided to change. Because there's nothing wrong with change as long as you're headed in the right direction. And today I'm headed in the direction of faith, passion, and promise. And I'm seizing every moment and I'm savoring every minute. Because I'd rather be an original version of myself than continue to try to please man by being a counterfeit of somebody else. I'm no longer dependent on what I see or what this world tries to offer me, because I'm on a journey towards my divine destiny, and I hear different voices now calling out to me. There are voices of great leaders that have gone before me, reminding me that my deepest fear is not that I'm inadequate, but that I'm powerful beyond measures. That it is my light, never my darkness, that frighten me. I began to question myself, who am I to be talented, gifted, phenomenal? Actually, who am I not to be? I am a child of God. My playing small does not serve the world. And there is nothing enlightened about me shrinking so that others around me won't feel insecure. But I was born to manifest the glory of God within me. And it's not for some of us, but it's for each and every last one of us. And as we begin to let our light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And as we are liberated by our own fears, our very presence liberates others. So today, I stand before you, liberated and free to tell my story, like so many of those who have gone before me. How through it all, through the pain, through the hurt, through the rejection, through the molestation, through it all, through the betrayal, I made it, and I found my strength, and all along, it was in him. Thank you.
Woo! Can you hold this one? Oh, yes.
Give it up one more time.
Did y'all hear that? Phenomenal story. And the great thing about it is that's her true story. That wasn't something that she conjured up or made up. Those are the words that she have lived day by in and day out. And so it just gives you something to think about. So now what we're going to do, each panelist is going to introduce themselves, share a little bit about their story, triumph, trials, whatever. No scripts here. And so, and then we're gonna move on and we'll start right here.
Good afternoon. I'm Ravonda Williams, and I am a former alcoholic. I enjoy sobriety today with a new sense of self and being. I want to say that I absolutely am honored to be here and look forward to asking and answering questions to you on this afternoon. To be as candid as possible, and it was very important that I let you know that I am open to those questions, because some of you might have a parent who is suffering with the disease of alcoholism, and I want you to know that I'm here today to offer you some hope that you don't have to be in the prison of being codependent. As a parent, I know what it's like to have a child who is now an adult who was codependent and who oftentimes had to step in the place of being the parent or making decisions that were put onto her that were not her responsibility to bear. Today, I thank God that we celebrate health together, and my present to her was to make sure my well-being was top priority and to gift her with the rest of my well life. And so I just want to let you know that there's hope for you today, and making sure that the takeaway from this afternoon, that if you do find yourself being the young adult or the teenager to someone who is suffering from alcoholism, that if you meet me afterwards today, I can tell you and direct you and hopefully walk you through some things that you can do, some avenues that you can take to make sure first that you are okay. And possibly we can reach out to your family and make sure that your family is able to get some help also, because we realize that the disease doesn't just affect the person who has it, but it also affects family and friends. And the building process, though daunting, it is definitely possible, and to be much better than what it is on the other side. It could be much better than you can imagine, because one of the questions that I know that I ask the Lord is, why did I have to go through this? And I often tell people that, you know, it wasn't so much that I wanted an answer, but He satisfied that with giving me purpose. And purpose is what I offer on today. And knowing that there is hope in sobriety. And health sure looks good on us, doesn't it?
So my name is Dion Jackson, and I can say, I believe, I'm an ex-codependent. I'm an ex-manipulator. I am an ex-money addict. I'm an ex-pimp. I'm an ex-hustler. Ex-pillar to post kid, but all of it prepared me for today. There are so many other exes I could state, but I don't want to traumatize y'all with my history. I'm very, very grateful for my process. It prepared me for moments like this, of being able to speak into the lives of others, and to not just speak into their lives, but to empower them through a lot of my missteps, only because, as well-meaning as it had been, sometimes the authority figures that God affords the opportunity to steward our lives, all well-meaning, don't necessarily have the tools to give you what you need to do the next thing. It's similar to what Tiffany just said. There are some bloodline things I had to understand and undo and come out of agreement with, so to speak, all of which, again, the majority of them, and right here from good old Richmond, all day, every day. I ride until the wheels fall off this thing. Richmond prepared me for my now. You hear me? These streets were some of the greatest teachers this side of heaven. I would not trade my history for anything. I'm extremely grateful, because you cannot trick me. I see you. Richmond taught me how to see very, very well, and it is an honor to be in this very gym that I spent many years learning how not to trust, and getting that down to a science, and coming out of that process of really learning how to trust what is inside of me. And I'm very grateful to God. And I'll say this scripture, and one day when you get a moment, look it up, Psalms 139:16. And all the days of your life were written in my books before you lived one day. And it is married to probably one of all of our very familiar passages, Romans 8 and 28. Now, all things work together for the good of those that are called according to his purpose. And I'm very grateful that everything that I went through was so that some of the young people that will watch this very broadcast never have to experience in their lives if they trust the teaching of what truth is, and they shall know the truth, and the truth shall make them free. Our lives are full of decisions, and either you live from victory or you live from victimhood. I decided to stomp in victory and walk heavy in this thing. So teaching people how to live a victorious life after a trial, trauma, tragedy, is what I was designed to do, and I do it with great fervor. So they call me Dion, the radical midwife. That's my job, y'all. Pain walked me right into purpose.
I know that's right.
I don't even know how to follow up. Wow, it's an amazing story from both of you. My name is Armand Carr. I am by trade a radio personality, been in radio for over 25 years, voiceover, so forth and so on. But I wanted to use my voice more than just talking and introducing music. I wanted to use my voice in the community. So back in 2016, I started an organization called All Tied Up, where it focuses on teaching young black men like yourself, young man, how to tie a necktie. But it's not about the tie. It's actually what the tie stands for. Because whether you're wearing a hoodie, whether you're wearing a sweatshirt, you still have to represent what that tie stands for, which is respect yourself, respect your peers, but also respect women. Because I suffer from manism. You know what that is? My ego sometimes gets in my way, like a lot of men, black men especially. So being a man is one thing, but being a gentleman is everything. And I didn't learn how to be a gentleman until I became an ex-husband, because I wasn't treating people right. And you can only take so many exes. And then before you get that zero, you realize it's too late. So I learned not to take shortcuts. Because taking shortcuts, your life will be cut short. So you have to follow the process. So I followed the process. It wasn't easy, but I didn't question. I wasn't connected to the outcome. So, for the most part, I lived my life very blessed. But I'm from East Oakland, Sunshine Court, East 14th. So, my mother hid the hood from me. I grew up with a single mother. Actually, she's more like my older sister because she had me when I was 16 years old, when she was 16 years old. So, we grew up together. But there was a lot of things she picked up, that I picked up, that I had to drop off. And it's called generational curses. Yeah. And I didn't know any better, because what you don't know is what you don't know. And I wish I had somebody like me at that time, but it wasn't meant for me because I wasn't ready mentally to accept the gift that we're giving you today. Because you got to be ready, and it's not an age attached to it. It's just opportunity. And a lot of us aren't given the opportunity because we're not being exposed to these things. So get out of the environment up here, because you can still be in Richmond, but be exposed to the entire world, because you have more resources than all of us grew up with. We didn't have YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, this, that, and whoop that. No, we didn't have any of that. But we did have each other. We did have the big mamas, but we don't have that anymore. And come to find out, Big Mama wasn't really, she had trauma. And we didn't want to tell her that. So now that we've realized that Big Mama was actually bipolar, Big Mama was suffering from depression, Big Mama had anxiety because of what Dad did to her. So as a black man, I'm taking full accountability for what we have done to the black woman, unapologetically. But we can't have a civil war between each other. We have to fix it. And we can't expect them to fix it. We have to fix it. So whether if it's 30,000 of us or 15 of us, it doesn't matter. The key word there is us. And we're going to do it the right way. But the right way is what we have to do because we got to get out of our own way first. So I'm telling you this, and I'm looking you right in the eyes, young man, just like she looked you in the eyes, young lady. I'm looking you in the eyes because it's your shoulders that we're going to.
My career is mental health clinician, which is therapist, counselor, so on and so forth. But who I am is not that. And who I am is the all things, right? All the pain that was made of purpose. I appreciate you saying that. Teen mom, abuse of every kind, right? Experiencing pretty much every checkbox that is typical of what is expected for us in our future, which is nothing. I grew up here in Richmond. We gonna be doing this. By way of Oakland, by way of Milwaukee, but Richmond is where I was raised, and Richmond was both my love and also my torment. A lot of violence and literally living in fear and trauma from as far back as I can remember. And, you know, I wasn't necessarily typical. I was tall, I was dark-skinned, nappy-headed, you know. Now I'm happy to be nappy, but the reality was that wasn't acceptable. That wasn't considered beauty by not just European standards, but our own standards, because we didn't know any better. So weed, drinking, sex, promiscuity, acting a fool, running the streets, the whole nine, was a big part of my story. But over time, there was a common denominator. I kept focusing on what was happening outside of me, but not necessarily paying attention to the fact that I was choosing certain things and that I could choose differently. And having a child at such a young age was definitely an amazing wake-up call to start me on a journey that is never going to end. And so if I can offer anything to you all, what I would offer is that you go through. We don't necessarily always just get over. Things are not necessarily done. The challenges we face continue on, but we can press through. And so as a healer, and I've learned to be okay with calling myself that, because that is God's purpose for me, is to help others heal, is to recognize that you can heal through something while it continues on. It doesn't need to be over for it to be okay. So a little 7-year-old taught me I don't like it, but I can take it. And that doesn't mean we accept it and we're okay with it, but it does mean we can endure through. And so if anything I can offer you is to just continue to press forward, to recognize where you are, but never to just settle and see yourself where you are, because there is more. That you are above your circumstances, that the problem is the problem, you are not the problem, because we take a lot in and we internalize it and it becomes us as the problem, and that's not the truth. That you can challenge those beliefs that were fed to you and ask yourself, do you continue to have to believe it? Because these realities that we're facing, and I'm gonna be real, I would not want to be a young person today. Y'all got it hard. We had it hard, y'all got it hard. You're overexposed, desensitized, with nobody guiding y'all through in a lot of ways. And even with that, there's still hope. And there's still people reaching back and grabbing them. So please be open. That's what I would say. Know that you are able, and trust your process, and love yourself.
Look, I'm about to say Chi-Town, Oakland, and I do a Chi-Town, you know. But we do need to, so yeah. She already said, my name is Tiffany James, born and raised on the south side of Chicago. By trade, I am an author, and I am the CEO of Encouraging Touch. And I started Encouraging Touch because I saw the power of encouragement in my own life. And it's nothing like having someone that will cheer me for you. Encouragement is like breath to the soul, you know, and the root word of encouragement is courage. And so it is my mission to give people the courage to go after their dreams. Same thing, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I was a young girl, dark skin, nappy hair, was called all kind of names in my home and outside of my home. from Nappy Headed to Blackie to Raisin Bran to Rat, all these names within my own family as well. And even though that those were names that they gave me, nicknames that they thought like, okay, it's just cute, but they were very hurtful for me because they were affirming things that I believed about myself already and things that was being said at school. And so I also was never seen, I was never heard. And that was huge for me. And the streets saw me and the streets heard me. And so I looked for love in all the wrong places. And I joined a gang right in high school, Black Peace Stone Nation, and that became my family. And I was a ride or die, but what I didn't realize is that the streets were attracted to my brokenness. And a lot of times when we choose the wrong people to hang with, we don't realize that we're attracted to brokenness. And how you see yourself usually is what you attract. And what you see about yourself, how you feel about yourself, if you own that as your identity, that's what you attract. And so I attracted the streets, I attracted all the wrong men, I attracted all the wrong friends. And the one thing about broken people, when you attract other broken people, nobody can help you heal. And I'm so grateful that we're all here today because I wish someone would have listened to me outside of the streets. And I wish someone would have kept it real with me. So that's why I tell my stories. I love being a storyteller. I love being a spoken word artist because I want to say the things that people are afraid to say. And I never want to get to a place in my life, even though I've been blessed in every way. I don't look like what I've been through. None of us does. None of us do. But I never want to be the one that will stand up and never tell where I've come from and what I've been through. And that's what's wrong with young people today because they feel like they can't talk to adults. And so when I got an opportunity and then I found someone that was keeping it real, and she was from Richmond, and she became a mentor for me. She told the truth. She told me the truth when she didn't want to live at one point, and I wanted to commit suicide. And I was like, wow, I'm looking at you and you're successful, and at one point in your life you wanted to commit suicide. When she told me she was in an abusive relationship, I was like, wow, I was in an abusive relationship, and look at you now. You're successful, you love God, you hold your head up strong, you don't take no mess from anybody. And so I realized that I can look at her, and God is no respecter of a person. And if he did it for her, he could do it for me. And that's why I'm telling you that he'll do it for you too. And that you're more than just how you look, because I thought it was all about the way I look, because this is what y'all living in now. Everything is about image for young people today. And so, and it's much more to you. And I always tell my girls when I talk to them that you want to go and wear the short skirts and the tube tops, and I get it, you want to be sexy, but when you go down the street, there's one more girl that's trying to do the same thing. When you go down the street, there's one more girl trying to do the same thing, trying to look for love in all the wrong places. So be different, stand out, show your brains. It's sexy to show how smart you are and how intelligent you are. It's very sexy, and there's nothing wrong. We don't talk about that. Young people want to be sexy. We need to talk about that, and let's show them what sexy looks like. So my young girls, my young lady, and any other young ladies, like, I'm here that's looking, show how intelligent you are, because it is sexy, and it lasts. And if someone keeps walking, let me tell you, when I changed how I saw myself, I did not attract the thugs no more. And I walked through the mall, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Nobody is asking for my number no more. Like, dang, y'all told me if I changed, I was gonna get a man. And a good one, nobody's looking at me. And then my mentor said that you changed who you are and you changed the way you walk. And it's something about you and your aura that a thug is like, I'm not even gonna waste my time on her because I know she ain't giving it up. And so they keep it moving. So I just want you to know, no matter what it is, find somebody that you can talk to. Today you got an opportunity. There's so many. There's a panel of people that you can talk to. Listen, seize the opportunity. If I didn't find the courage to change, I wouldn't be here today. So find the courage to change for yourself. And I'm just grateful to be here and just among all these amazing people.
Good afternoon. Testing, testing, 1, 2. I am Anthony McDonald, the Executive Director / founder of Leaders of Men. I want to thank you for the invite to come down here and speak amongst this amazing panel of youth advocates and you know, people who care about the community and that's willing to share their journey. I think that's very unique for people to share their journey, and I think it's very brave for people to share their journey. So let me get started on mine. So I grew up in East Oakland. I lived in, I grew up in San Diego, California, a couple of shelters. We ate at soup kitchens, and those things we had it super tough as youngsters. I also grew up in Brooklyn, New York. The fire pan into the fire. New York is where I really learned about respect, and you can see my shirt, it says respect is everything. I also went through a lot of the bullying. I'm blind in my left eye. I got hit with a pencil when I was 4. Been blind ever since. So as you guys were saying, you were called those names. I was called cat eye, dead eye, one-eyed bastard, those things. The biggest person that helped me get through those things was my mom, rest in peace. She told me, Anthony, don't worry about it, you are the man. That was my first time realizing she was there to be my angel, to be my guardian. You know, she always encouraged me, you are the man, Anthony, believe in yourself. She taught me that. My biggest thing is that I would never get a girlfriend. So that was my whole big thing of being blind in my left eye. I didn't get called the bad hair because, you know, I got good hair. So I got Jamaican in my blood. But I learned to stay away from a lot of negativity. I knew what disrespect looks like. I know what happens to people when you disrespect people, so therefore I lived on the side of respect. Respect helped me navigate through life. Respect helped me get through a lot of the bullying. Respect helped me get through a lot of situations that people just didn't make it because they chose on the wild side. I wasn't a big drug dealer. I didn't go to prison. Those things didn't change my life. What changed my life was working at 11 and 12 years old and bringing money home to my mom, bringing money home to my family. My mom called me her working man. That's what got me through. I worked for so many people, but I understood that at a certain age in education, people would take advantage of me. Now, I left school in the 10th grade. When I was in school, I wasn't in school. When I was in the 7th grade, I would leave because I couldn't read and write. I would leave school, get on the train, travel around Brooklyn, and just meet people and those things. So I am a people person, but I believe in work. I believe in respect. And then when we talk, let's just fast forward, we're talking about our youth today. Some of the things that's missing, and I'm not saying all youngsters are missing this, but the number one thing is respect. When I hold my classes or I talk to young people, I'm not the person to get in their face and yell at them and scream at them. No, my thing is to have a conversation. If I have a conversation with you about respect, character, responsibility, domestic violence among teenagers, dressing for success, like my man was saying, those things, setting goals, going after your dreams, even cooking, barbecuing, when you cook for yourself, your family, your friends, you being the leader. That's what leaders do, they serve. So I believe more in having a conversation with young people. I think the disconnect is being a parent from youngsters. We talk to our youngsters about growing up in 2022, trying to parent against bullying and sex, drugs, and all of these things. But let's flip it. They're having a tough time growing up in school with peer pressure, bullying, social media, those things. So it's not easy for them. So my thing is more, it's called empathy, right? Seeing what they're going through. right? And now flip it, they can see what you're going through. So if we meet on the same page, as me and my mom did, we celebrated through music. I knew who Marvin Gaye and Al Green was. You know what I'm saying? She knew who Run DMC was, you know, and Melly Mel and, you know, those people. So I think if we meet our young people on the same page, we're going to win. I think if we empower our youth to say, hey, this is a good idea, and to show them how to go after it. Nobody gave me a blueprint on to get to where I am. I had to do it myself. But looking at this panel right here, we have some great people up here that is the blueprint, you know, but the only thing is now I'm just going to put this out on the parents. We can't share the information if you don't bring the youngsters to the events that we have. We can't share the information if the parents aren't involved. You know, so it does become on a parent. And I get it that some of our youngsters are raised by the grandparents, which is not fair because the grandparents are slowing down, our youth are speeding up, there's the disconnect. You know, so I think if we all keep an open mind and try to listen to each other, the needs of the youth, the need for us as parents and community to want to teach, and them, you know, youngsters being open, and more important, people being open, I think we can get a lot more done. Partnerships, those type of things. I believe in youth empowerment in everything we do. Youngsters, please go after your dreams right now, set the goals. You can literally be anything you want to be. I didn't read my first book until I was 40 years old, right? And so now I wrote a book at 55. I wrote a book, and it's called Thank You. You know, and it's not a lot of pages or nothing, but my book is called The Big Black Man, Food, Family, and Friends. And that show, it's a biography through my life through food, how food helps in every situation. It's in death, we celebrate with food. Life, we celebrate with food. You know, marriages or whatever. And there's always food. There's food at this table. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I've never met a mean person or a bad person eating some good food. So, but I feel that we have to, we celebrate. So anyway, that's mine. You can literally be, and I'm learning this right now, you can be whatever you want to be, chase the dreams. But in order to get that dream, you got to be consistent in setting the goals, right? So set the goals, go after the dream. Don't let nobody steal your dreams. It's okay if your friends and family don't believe in you and your dreams, but that's okay because it's not theirs. God gave it to you. He put that in your heart, and he gave you that mission and that purpose. So I lost 2 of my brothers to gun violence in the streets. That gave me purpose to do what I do, to talk to youngsters. Once again, I do mentoring. My Leaders of Men gives me purpose. Leaders of Men is a nonprofit organization focused on mentoring our youth and our communities. There is no color line. There is no financial line. I will mentor anyone who wants to be mentored. So I am Anthony McDonald, Executive Director of Leaders of Men. Any questions, you can email me at leadersofmeninc@gmail. You want to check out my website, it's leadersofmen.org. So I'm Anthony McDonald once again, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, we got Oakland in the house. My name is Jamila Hanif. I am a business owner of a family home child care. I am also a child and family advocate. I have a nonprofit, Watch Me Grow Inc. Born and raised in Oakland, now reside in Vallejo. Just listening to everyone speak and sharing their experiences, things that they experience, you know, as children that impact us lifelong, child abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional neglect, physical neglect, loss of a parent due to death, divorce, abandonment, or separation, witnessing domestic violence, having somebody in the household that's a substance abuse user, incarceration of a family member, and having a parent or someone in the household that's mentally ill, who okay? All ACEs that I have experienced, adverse childhood experiences. So I'm serious about raising awareness about ACEs because, man, those are exposures that impact you lifelong, like lifelong, okay? I'm working on getting rid of some emotional strongholds. It's a lot. So with these children, you know, we have to do all we can to create safe environments for them, to create some some protected community environments, you know, the exposures, man, that they experience in schools, you know, bullying. Oh, man, I didn't know that occurred when he was 4 years old. Man. So see, it's important to get to these children young, very young. So I'm an early childhood educator. So I'm serious about getting to the children young, creating safe places for them. Like most people saying, just the importance of having someone to talk to, having these mentorships. But when you learn these trauma-informed practices, you know the number one thing that's important is building relationships with the children. You know, being sure that ensuring them that they can trust you, so that they can feel comfortable enough to come to an adult and share what it is that they may be experiencing, and the adults having the knowledge to identify what needs aren't being met, and to provide the resources that are needed. Even building relationships with families, with the parents, to make sure they're supported. You know, we can't transform the lives of children without transforming the lives of their parents. So I'm just serious about the work of trauma-informed care. That's all I need to share, really. But it's a pleasure to be on this panel. Your voice, man, I was like, okay.
I know his voice. I know his voice. I said that. My name is Kevin Berthia. I am the founder and CEO of the Kevin Berthia Foundation. I am a suicide prevention advocate, survivor, and speaker. Born and raised in Oakland, California. Since 2020, I opened up the Kevin Berthia Foundation because I got tired of everything that we don't and everything we lack in America, how we handle mental health. I got tired of men not coming forward and really dealing with our emotions about talking about how we really feel. I spent my whole life lying about who I was because I didn't want to deal with how I really felt, because it was just easier to not deal with it. Society has always taught us, especially born and raised in Oakland, California, that, you know, the idea of what strength is totally different from what it really is and what it really looks like. So my job now is to travel the world to really just point out what strength really looks like. And strength is really dealing with your issues. Strength is taking care of your emotions, handling your emotions, processing your emotions. That's the real idea of what strength is. It's not, you know, not dealing with your issues, you know, acting like they don't exist. That's not strength. And I think that until we get to a point of really dealing with these issues like we should, we become, you know, we become better as a people, better as a community, and have a better balance. So that's just it. That's just me. I am an expert in the dark place. I got 22 unsuccessful suicide attempts. I've tried everything outside of a gun. So I am an expert in that dark place. I understand why people go there, why people stay, and better yet, I am an expert of how people can stay out. So that's what I travel around. I do everything I can to try to just prevent lives from feeling like they're not enough. So that's what I do. Appreciate it.